All right, I'm going to turn the crossbar invisible. I'm going to take a look at my drawing. So what do we have here? It says we need the left chassis rail. Left chassis rail. So that is a new component that I'm going to create. I'm just going to copy, see if I can't paste that name in here for my new component. Make sure Pushbot is active. New component. A standard component. I'm going to change its name here to left chassis rail. Have the checkbox here means that it will become the active component. And I'm going to click OK. There's left chassis rail. So what does a left chassis rail need? A left chassis rail needs one 288 millimeter channel, one 160 millimeter channel, one 32 millimeter channel, 4 screws, I guess 6 screws, 4 socket head, and 2 of them 1/2-inch socket head, and then 6 nuts. And here's a nice illustration of how we're going to put all this together. So 288, 160, and a 32. All right, let's go do that. I am going into my data panel to home here under FHS Robotics. I'm looking for the Tetrix parts folder. In there, going under channels. And I need one of the 288 millimeters. I'm going to insert that into my current design. And I'm going to rotate it over this way. There it is, 90. So I want to think about my robot and how it's positioned. I want the front of the robot to correspond with the front of the cube. So if the front is going to be over here, and this is the left rail of the robot, then where should I position my next piece in relation to this piece? We can say okay for that. Well, let's look back at our document. So the left rail, when it's all together, is going to be, that'll be the right, this will be the left rail over here. Okay, so look at how these are positioned. So we can make our left rail the same as this. Okay. So that piece looks right. We're going to bring in the 160 millimeter. Need to do a couple of adjustments here. And then when we do pin this in place, it'll be on this end because this is going to be the left side. I'm going to bring in, all right, we also need this smallest of the channels, the 32 millimeter channel. Let's insert that. And that should be open down. There we go. I'm going to drag that so it's roughly in place-ish. 32, a 160, and a 288. Now we need to make sure that the 288 millimeter channel is the one that is grounded. Right click on there, click ground. Make sure it has that push pin next to it. I'm going to take a look at the illustration to see where these should be connected. So it looks like that first 8 millimeter hole, yeah, the first 8 millimeter hole connects there, and then the third 8 millimeter hole for the 32 millimeter channel. Okay, so first and third. All right, so I want to assemble a joint. I'm going to orbit around. I can see under there, zoom in. I'm going to grab that first 8mm channel and the first 8mm hole there. Put those two together. It is just checking, yep. Solid, rigid connection, I should say. There we go. Okay. Zoom back out. Now I'm ready for that 32mm one. It's kind of inside the other, but I think I can still grab it. Assemble, joint. Come on. Come on, zoom. Zoom, zoom. I'm going to turn off some of these since they seem to be in the way. There we go. I want onto the third one over here. 1, 2, 3. Turn that back on so I can see. Yep, that looks like it's in the right spot. Apply that rigid joint. Let's look at it. Yes, that's looking very nice. As far as the screws go, we need to have, it's like 4 here and 2 here. But I think, where am I going? There it is. It says we need 2 of the 1/2 inch. So for the front wheel, 32mm channel piece, we're going to use 2 of the longer, those 1/2 inch socket head cap screws, and then 4 of the smaller ones back here. All right. Back to Tetrix parts. Screws and nuts. I need 4 of the 0.3125 inch socket head cap screws. I'll rotate this over to this side. I can see inside there a little better. There, that works. Capture that position. I want to use my joint tool. I want that piece on that one. And then zooming in over here. Right there. Hey, it's right side up. I like that. Let's do it again. Oh, zoom out, zoom in. Okay, so those are the 4 shorter ones are now in place. And now I need the 2 longer ones. Well, I'm looking for the 0.5 socket head cap screw. And now 6 keep nuts. Looks like they're going in upside down, so flip that around. Trying to look in the middle of this channel. Make sure that it's all okay. Nope, it's not. It's too high up. I grabbed the wrong ring there. I misplaced that one. Let's see. I want you to go on that ring there. Flip it over again. There it is. That looks good. What can be nice is instead of bringing in a whole new nut, since this is in close to the right spot, and I really don't want to change my view, you can actually copy a feature that's already there. Let me show you what I mean. We've got this keep nut threaded. I'm going to highlight that, right click on it, and there's this move copy. So I want to make sure that's create copy is checked. And now I've made a copy, and I can just drag this copy straight over here, and it's going to be pretty close to where I want it. Click OK. That's nice. It's nearly right where I want it. Okay, I still need to create the joint. The joint has not been copied. So in order to see that joint, I want to look at the top of this. Grab this ring right here. I'm going to turn this guy back on. Oh, not that one. This one. There, that's the one I want. There we go. Trying to get the right view. There, I see it. Okay. Good. I'm going to use my copy again. So move copy. Create a copy. So now I just slid it into the exact place that I want it. I just slid it into the exact place I want it. Is there another way that I can capture this position and keep it? Yes, there is. Let me show you. Instead of picking joint, I'm going to pick the as built joint. And it's saying, which components do you want? And so I'm going to go over here to my list of components. And I'm going to say, I want that nut and the screw that corresponds to that nut. There it is, that socket head cap screw. I want those two to have a rigid joint applied to them. And then click OK. Look at that. That was easy. So multiple ways of doing things. Your job is to pick the fastest one. What is going to be the fastest way to do this? Time is money. Faster you can do something, the better. There we go. So I just slid that into position. Let me just verify. Oh, not quite. I didn't quite get it. Go up here to move and see if I can't move that right into. Excellent. That's where I want it. Assemble. Joint is built. Yes, capture that position. Definitely. Okay, and I want that nut and that socket head cap screw. There we go. So those four are now in place. We've got two others. Using the hand to drag and my view around. wheel to zoom in. There we go. I think copying is going to be the better option here as well. Another move copy. Make sure you click create copy. Slide that guy right on down there. Check the view. Make sure that it's not intersecting anything else. It looks good. Yep, I like that. Man, let's capture that position. Yep, that looks good. And those are longer screws. It was throwing me off a little bit. They are sitting down a little further. That's okay. Notice we cannot put 4 screws in this one. Notice how these holes are all blocked. It's because of the hole pattern up top. That's okay. Just put 2 in. There's my first nut. Oh, I want to capture it in place. So assemble, joint is built. I want this keep nut, and there it is, that 1/2 inch socket head cap. Okay, rigid joint. Let's go ahead and copy the last nut we just put in place. And I'm going to slide that on over, right into position. Just verify, can't quite see. That looks good right there. Let's go ahead and assemble as built, or built as built joint. Last keep nut and the last 1/2 inch socket head cap screw. There it is. The left side is done now. Let's take a look. Left side of the robot, done. I'm going to turn off the left chassis rail. I'm going to go back up here to Pushbot and make that active. And now under Pushbot, right clicking there, I'm going to create a new component. What is this component going to be called? Right chassis rail. Now we're making the right chassis rail. And I do want it to be the active component. There we go. Now we're going to bring in the same pieces, just going to assemble them a little bit different. It's going to be more of a mirror image of that left side. Yep, okay. So let's go ahead and bring in our channels. 288. Orient that. Click OK. Want to make sure that it's grounded. Bring in the 160 millimeter. Going to rotate this. Now, it being on the right side, the channel has to open up toward us this time. Drag it roughly into position. Ish, I think, right about there. And I'll need the 32 millimeter channel. Now that they're all in position, let's go ahead and assemble. new joint. This first one is the first 8mm holes on each of those rails. Zoom out, zoom in here. Excellent, it's rigid, okay. And then as we assemble this joint, I select this 8mm hole and this third one, but the underside of it. Right there. Okay. Now that those are all in position, it's time to add our screws. Insert a new one in there. I didn't trust myself that I got that exactly right. Upside down, right side up, there we go. Okay, time for the 2 1/2-inch screws. And our last one now.